know you've been writing stories, and I talked to your principal, and I love all this artwork that you guys did in preparation for my visit today. I love to write. It's something I've always loved to do, even when I was your age. I think it's so much fun to use my imagination and my experiences and create stories for children like you to read. I just love it. I brought I'm going to tell you a little bit about me. Just a couple minutes. I want to just talk a little bit about some stories that I've written, and then we're going to turn the program over to you, so you can start writing. As you'll see, you all have a packet. It's called What's Your Story? Because we all have stories to tell, each of us. Okay? The trick is to find out what interests you, what excites you, what scares you, what makes you happy or sad, to tap into your own interests and tap into your own self, and to find out what kind of stories you would like to write. So as you can see, I brought some of my books here today. I've written picture books, beginning readers, chapter books. I've written stories in magazines like Highlights, Spider, Children's Playmate. I've even written activity books featuring some characters that you might know, like Shrek and Clifford, and some activity-based books based on movies, Over the Hedge, and Holly Hobby, and different kinds of movies. And I brought some of my story character props just to show you that there is just so much to write about. Anybody here like animals? Okay, great. Put your hands up. I've written stories about bears and owls. I've written stories about cats. I have a cat at home. His name is Sneakers. He's black, and why do you think we name him Sneakers? Anybody can guess? He likes sneakers, yeah, but he does. He's got black legs. What color do you think are his paws?
White.
They're white, yeah. He looks like he's wearing 4 sneakers. He loves to pounce and jump and run around. So I've written a short story about him. I've written fiction and nonfiction. And you guys are 4th graders. Really simple. What's the difference between fiction and nonfiction? What? Yeah, fiction is made up and nonfiction is real. So I've written I've written several nonfiction books. I brought this, what is this, guys? Map of the whole world. And I've written stories, nonfiction books, one on India and one on Guatemala. Now, I've never been to India or Guatemala, but I found it so interesting to learn about these countries, to learn about the children in those countries, and the holidays they celebrate, the food they eat, the sports they play, the different lands and mountains and rivers that are in those countries. They're very different from Tom's River, New Jersey. So I really enjoyed writing those kind of books as well. Anybody here play sports? Wow, a lot of you. What kind of sports do you play? Baseball and yes. Wow, a lot. Soccer. Okay, well I have a basketball here because I've written a story called The Hot Shots. And this is about students playing against their teachers in a basketball game. Could you imagine you played against your teachers in a basketball game? Who do you think would win? You're very short. Teachers. Any of the students, do you think you guys could beat the teachers? All right, well, maybe that's something you might want to think about. I've written fantasy books. I have a book called The Giant Jelly Bean Jar. And this was a lot of fun. I wrote this book. And again, as I told you before, my books, and we're going to talk about that in a little while, it's based on my imagination and a lot of my experiences. What has happened to me in the past, in the present, all my experiences. And that's how you'll be writing the stories that you like to write, based on your interests and the experiences in your life. And this is a boy called Ben, and he loves jelly beans. And every weekend he goes to JoJo's Jelly Bean shop and tries to answer a riddle that will win him a jar full of jelly beans. And every week he goes to JoJo's Jelly Bean shop and he always knows the answer to the riddle, but he never wins the prize. And the reason I wrote this book, just to give you a little background, is because I love jelly beans. I love all different flavors of jelly beans, mango and chocolate and peanut butter, and I just love jelly beans. And when I have 3 children, they're older now, they're all teenagers, but when my children were younger and they were bored, or we were waiting online, or we were in the doctor's office, and they were acting up and getting really cranky and fidgety, I'd say to them, okay, let's play a game. I'd say, name me a color that rhymes with hay. What do you think they told me? Red. Thank you. I'd say, name me a fruit that rhymes with beach. What do you think they'd say? Peach. So that is why I wrote the Giant Jelly Bean Jar. I wrote a story called Building a Winner, because my middle son Jeffrey, he loves to play with building toys, with Legos and Connects, and my house is full of all kinds of building toys. So I based this story about a group of kids, like here, like at Eastover Elementary, and they form groups. And they get together and they say, who could build the best? And I named my toy, named my building toy Lynx, because I didn't want to call it Connects or Lego. I thought did anybody ever hear of Lynx? Have you? Well, when I wrote this story, I thought I was making something up. I thought I was making up the name Lynx. But again, I used my imagination, and I had groups of kids building different projects. One group built a soccer field, another group of kids built a robot, another group of kids built an amusement park. So they see who could try to build the best model. So I've written math books, I've written lots and lots. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because, again, there's so much to write about. And I hope that I know some of your parents are coming tonight and you've been writing all year, and that you will, again, get some ideas for your own stories. We're going to go over. We have lots to cover in this hour. This is not a test. You are not going to be graded, so don't worry about it. It's just something to keep with you, this packet with you, so when your teacher tells you, I want you to write a story, and it's a free write, you say, I have nothing to write about. What am I going to write about? You do. You have a lot to write about. Do you believe me?
Yes.
Am I convincing you?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, so first of all, now let's know a little bit about me. All right, everybody, if you haven't already, I'd like you to put your name on the front of the packet. Okay, we are going to have I'm going to be asking you questions. You're going to be raising your hand. You want to participate. So, like I said, we have a lot to go over, and we're not especially in the first part of this, just get some ideas down. You're not actually writing a story right now. You're just getting some ideas, and we want to move along through each section. So, I'm going to ask you to help me read. First section, where did you get that idea? First, we're talking about ideas. Where did you get that idea? Who can read the first paragraph for me? Real loud, yes.
Story ideas come from many different places. Your stories can be based on your real-life experiences or all from your imagination. Most times, stories are a combination of the two. There are several ways you can develop your own story ideas.
Right. Okay. The first one, write about what you like.
Do you have any interests or hobbies? Are you active in sports, dance, and gymnastics? The basic of your story could be about one of your interests.
Great. Okay. So tell me, besides coming to school, which I know is your favorite thing to do in the whole wide world, come to school, right? Well, besides coming to school, what do you like to do after school? What do you like to do on the weekends? What are your interests? What do you like to do? Skate. Skate. Write it down. What else? Who else? What do you like to do?
Video games.
All right. Well, you can make a story out of that, believe it or not. Yes.
Play football.
Play football. Write it you could draw upon of your experience camping. Okay, and again, a lot of this is fiction. The type of stories that I write, like as a nonfiction and fiction, a lot of this is fiction. And just, again, keeping in mind, a camping story, you know about the setting, camping, the people, but then if you're writing fiction, you can make things up. Think of all the possibilities, bears, and you get lost in the woods, or, I mean, there's so much. Again, so you're taking your experience and stretching it. Okay, so just take a minute and write down, yes, did you?
Yeah, playing Green Day on guitar.
Playing what?
Green Day.
Green Day on guitar? I bet you're a very good guitar player. You like music?
I do.
You do. Did you ever write lyrics to your own song? Oh, you have? Great. Poetry. You like poetry?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Also in a band.
You're what?
I'm in a band.
You're in a band? What grade are you in?
Four, five.
What instrument do you play?
I play guitar, electric.
I have a feeling you are very passionate about that. Wonderful. Passion, that's what you need. Great. Okay. Next section. Who can read for me? Next section. Yes.
Certain event, vacations, holidays. Think about your daily life and the special events in your life. Birthdays, vacations, gifts. These can all be the basic of your story.
Exactly. Okay. Think about your daily life and the events in your life. Birthday parties you might have, or vacations you've gone on, camping that we talked about. These can all be the basis of your story. Has anybody here ever traveled outside Toms River, New Jersey? Anywhere? Where have you been? Yes, where have you been? Where? Mexico. Oh, I like Mexico. I've been to Mexico. That was a lot of fun. Write that down. Where have you been? What did you do in Florida? Disney? Do you think you could write a story about going to, what do you remember? It doesn't have to be the best thing about Orlando, but just what stays, it could be something terrible that happened. What stays in your mind about Orlando? Riding on the dolphin. Wow, you actually got to ride, you went in the water, and you brought, and where did you go? You went around the lagoon, or? You got to swim with the dolphins. Wow, what was that like?
The dolphin?
It's like you get to pet the dolphins and you sit and they go and they, do their bobbing.
You can write a story about that. Yeah, because you were there, you know what the water felt like. You know what you heard, the dolphins, the sounds that you heard from the dolphins. Now you could write that story. You could write a non-fiction story just as it happened. Or you know what? You could make something up. Maybe one of the dolphins, you were on the dolphin just kept going and going, and you kept going with that dolphin. Where do you think you might end up? What might have happened? Okay, maybe the dolphin started talking to you. Who knows? Oops. Honey, thank you. Where have you? Yes?
Canada.
Canada. What did you do in Canada?
Well, I went to this super pool, and I went to this super fun house. It was there were all these different rooms with a bunch of crazy things in them.
Then I hear a great horror story coming up here. Do you? Does anybody hear this great horror story? I do. Oh, good. Okay, one more. Yes. You went to Atlantis in the Bahamas? How was that? Oh, I would love to go there right now. That sounds great. Okay. When I was younger, my family and I grew up in New Jersey. I went to school in Arizona. I lived in California for a while, and then I came back to New Jersey after I had my children. But when I was growing up, we always used to go down the shore, the Jersey Shore, very close to here. And on the boardwalk, they have those spinning wheels, and you put a quarter on one of the numbers, and then the wheel, the person spins the wheel, and it stops on that number, you win a prize. Well, this is a true story. There's 5 of us in my family. When I was growing up, I have a brother and a sister, my parents, and we went down the shore, one of our vacations, and we put a quarter on number 5. And we put a quarter, because there's 5 in my family. So the teenage boy behind the wheel, he spun the wheel, and guess what number it stopped at? 5, yeah! We won this big frog, this big green frog, and we're so happy. And so what are the chances? Let's try it again. We'll put a quarter on number 5. And that's what we did. We put a quarter on number 5. And the boy spun the wheel, and guess what happened? It stopped on number 5 again. It was like, what are the chances? And we had this big, huge bear. And we're like, let's do it again. So we put a quarter on number 5. The boy spun the wheel, and guess what? It stopped again 3 times on number 5. And we won this big pink poodle. That was my favorite, this pink poodle. And then the manager came out. He was behind, and he looks at the kid, and he goes, "What's going on here?" He thought the kid was cheating or something, you know. And he's like, "I don't know. I just keep spinning the wheel, and it's stopping on number 5." The manager says, he looks at him. And he said, well, you know, we're going to try again. Let's put it on number 5 again and see what happens. So this time the manager spun the wheel, and guess what happened? Now, it did not stop on number 5. I think it was like 6 or 4. So it did not stop on number 5. But that's a story that just stayed in my mind. And I use that experience. I have a math book about money called Counting on a Win. And I base this book about that experience. Now, I've changed things. The story is a little different as far as the whole, you know, there are 3 kids in the story, just like me and my brother and my sister. And they're down the shore, and they're with their family. But it has more, they're trying to win Freddie the Frog. The youngest little brother wants Freddie the Frog. So their whole time there, they go to each concession stand to try to win that Freddie. And it's a book about money and the money that they use to try to win this stuffed animal. Okay, so just take a minute, write down about places that you've been. If you could think of something that really stays in your mind about the place you've been. Again, it doesn't have to be the best thing, the most fun, but just something that, even the plane ride there might have been, because you love the plane ride. And again, it doesn't have to be, maybe you never went to Mexico or you didn't go out of the country. It could just be a trip to another state, to New York or Pennsylvania. Okay, we've got to move along here. Who can read the next? We should be on this page right here, all the way in the back. Can you read it? Real loud.
Are there any special people that have in your life? Do you have a best friend, favorite cousins, or do something special with them that you remember? Use it as the basis of your story or a character in the story. Do you have a pet or special animal that you love?
Okay. So tell me about your friends, your family, somebody special to you, or your pets. Okay, we talked a little bit about that before. Who would like to tell me about something or someone special in their lives?
My
Dog Rottweiler? Write that down. Who else? Yes. What? Your cat, what's his name? Her. I can't remember. That's a good name. I can't remember. Come here, I can't remember. Yes. What? Ariana. And what's your name? Ariana and Taylor. You're best friends. Did you ever do something that maybe you shouldn't have? Or what do you remember about the two of you, your best friends? Goofing around. What did you goof around? Like what? Throwing stuff at your brother. Why were you doing that? Well, maybe make a friendship story, a story based on your friendship. And again, you could do it, have your brother involved. Okay, but just use your imagination, something that happened one day with the two of you. Again, you could make things up. All right? You could use your imagination based on your friendship. Yes. Lucy? How'd you first get her?
A lady was selling puppies because she couldn't have so many dogs, and when we were driving by her house, we saw them. I was going to get my own white dog, but then we got my dog Lucy for my nanny, but now she lives with my uncle.
Wow. Why does she live with your uncle?
Because my nanny went somewhere and she's living somewhere now. And she couldn't take my dog.
And why isn't your dog with you anymore?
Because my nanny moved away. And
You miss your dog?
yeah, someone at Halloween. They treat her like
They treat her like queen. What's your dog's name? What was
Lucy.
Lucy the Queen? Can you write a story about Lucy? I think that would be a great story about Lucy and all the places that she's been to, and then maybe you watch her for a week, or again, you just have to think about what if. What are all the possibilities you could write about you and Lucy? Okay, one more. Yes, who did I call on? Yes. What's your cat's name? Bootsy. How did you get Bootsy?
That was my cat's name.
Black and white. Well, you know, I'm just thinking, you had another cat, and that cat ran away, and now you have Bootsy. Wouldn't it be amazing if you were outside with Bootsy, and you're walking around, and you saw the first cat? Could you imagine that? Well, that doesn't matter. Maybe that cat also has just been, remember, you're using your imagination, and anything can happen in your imagination. Maybe that cat followed you. Is that a possibility? Of course it is. Okay. So again, you can go back. Who can read the next section? Next section. Yes.
Do you like fantasy or science fiction? This is where you can really let your imagination take off. Talking animals, invisible people, appear to another planet. There is no limit to your fantasy stories.
Okay. If I had a magical power, this is fantasy now. If I had you had one magical power, what would you like to do? Teleport. Teleport to where? To Africa. Ooh, the safari. Oh, I'd love to do that too. Yes. Spider-Man what? What would you do with your Spider-Man powers? Would you fly from building to building? Yes. You'd like to use the Force from Star Wars. Okay. And you like Star Wars, right? You know what? Since you like Star Wars, and again, this is in another section, do you think you know the characters of Star Wars, right? Make yourself, you don't have to write a whole book or a whole screenplay, maybe eventually, but maybe you put yourself, somehow you meet all those characters from Star Wars. Do you think you could do that? I think you can, just think about it. Yes. To go, and where would you like to go back in time? Any place special or just, you like history? To be a different person? That would be really exciting. Oh boy, one more, yes. Turn everybody into an ogre? And what about you? What would you be? You'd be Batman and everybody be ogres. Okay, that's interesting. Batman and his ogres. Okay, next page. We got 3 more for this section for the ideas. Then we have to start something new. Next page. just a little aside. The wonderful thing that I love about writing is that sometimes if you're feeling really sad about something, you're feeling down, and you don't know how to express yourself, you might want to write down on paper how you're feeling, what's upsetting you, why it's upsetting. You might not want to share this with anybody if you don't want, but just getting it down on paper, sometimes it's hard to communicate verbally. Believe it or not, it might make you feel better. So you just might want to keep that in mind. Okay, I feel happy when? What makes you happy? Tell me. Write that down. I want to write a story about you and Sharon. Yes. When you go to the beach, that makes me happy too. Write a beach story. Yes. When you're hanging out with your family, that's really nice. You might want to just write a story about something that happens with you and your family. Okay? Yes, all the way in the back. When you're with your friends, great. Put that down. Yes. When you don't have homework. Wow. Okay, maybe one time you had a teacher and she never ever gave you homework. Could you? Wow. That would be a miracle. Oh my goodness, yes. Uh-huh. When you what? You scared your friend on the what? You scared your friend. What did you do to him to scare him? Okay, well, I'm not exactly sure what you're talking about, but can you write that down for me? Because it sounds really interesting. It is scary? Oh, I want to be scared. I want you to write something that's going to make me feel really scared. Okay, next section. Who can read the next section? Would you like to read? Yes. Everybody, shh, let's listen. Okay. Anybody ever here have any dreams? Well, when I was your age, or maybe a little bit younger, I used to have this reoccurring dream over and over again. It was really scary. It was the middle of the night, and I grew up in Hillside, which is not far from here. Like I said, I grew up, I'm a Jersey girl. And I grew up in Hillside, and it was the middle of the night, and we were all asleep. My sister, my brother, my parents. And all of a sudden I woke up. I heard this noise. It was very, very dark. And I was the only, nobody else, everybody else was asleep. So I heard it downstairs. So I was a little scared, but I was always curious. So I went downstairs into the first floor, and I didn't see anything. And then I walked a little further, and I saw a light coming from the basement. It was the middle of the night. I was like, who left the light on in the basement? And I went downstairs very quietly and very slowly, and I turned my head, and I saw this masked man, and he's wearing a black cape, and he's got these test tubes and vials and this smoke, and he has a laboratory down in my basement. And I think, oh my God, he's going to take me, and he wants to make me into one of his experiments. You know, when you're dreaming and your heart is pounding, and that's exactly what happened. My heart is pounding, and I'm shivering. I didn't want him to see me. So I turned around very quietly, and as I turned around, he turned around. And I ran up the stairs, and he ran right after me, and I'm screaming and screaming. My parents aren't waking up, my brother and sister aren't waking up, nobody can hear me. And I'm screaming, I'm running in the house, and I'm running outside, and he's chasing me, and he wants to eat me up or something. And as soon as he's about to grab me, what do you think happens? I woke up. Crazy dream. I've had that dream so many times. I don't know why. I haven't had it in many years, but really weird. So what about you guys? What about your dreams? What about your dreams? Yes. Everybody, let's listen. What's your name? You jump down the stairs. What if you jump down the stairs and you jump down again and you went through the downstairs underneath the house and you just kept jumping? Where would you end up?
There's the stairs and like a little platform and more stairs. And I always see that little platform and then it's everything but it's black.
Everything
And it stayed black until I woke up.
until you woke up. Well, what?
And by the time it went black, I could actually like think about stuff. So I could actually control my eyes.
You could control. Do you ever have that with your dream, that you're dreaming, but you can control your dream?
She has these crazy dreams when she's like half awake and half asleep. She's playing baseball, and all the other kids are into it. She gets up, and they say, "Come on, Marcie, get up, catch the ball." And then she gets up and she stands there for a ball that's never gonna come.
I like that. That's good. Well, that's a great idea, but maybe that will eventually. Oh, there's so much you can do with both those dreams. Wow. Okay. You know, we do have to move along. I know you have some. Just jot down, just so you can jot down a word or two, so you'll remember later on. Okay. The last part of this section. Another way, a really important way that you can get ideas for your stories. Let's look at that first word, and on the count of 3, I want you to tell me what is a great way to get your own story ideas. 1, 2, 3. Read. That's right, read. Do you like stories? What kind of books do you like to read? Do you like stories that take place in the present, historical stories, fantasy stories? Reading other people's books will give you great ideas for the stories that you want to write. What do you like to read? What kind of books do you like to read? Yes. What kind? Fiction, any specific kind? Just anything that's made up? That's what you'd like to write about. Anything that's made up? Yes. Scary. I bet you could specifically any type of scary book. Think about writing a story. And again, when I say story, it doesn't have to be necessarily, it's not a novel. You're not writing about a novel right now, but just something scary. Yes? You would? You like to read a book, Cinderella. Well, as you see, there are many versions of Cinderella. Maybe one day, what's your name? Cheeto. Maybe one day, Cheeto, you wake up and you have two evil stepbrothers. Could you imagine? And a very evil stepdad. And maybe make yourself do like a little opposite. You know, there was a book similar to Cinderella. There's Cinderfella. Maybe you can make Cheeto Fellow or something. I think you can. Cheese. Make cheese, okay? Okay, read. What do you like to read? Yes. What?
Shakespeare.
You like to read Shakespeare? Wonderful. What is your favorite Shakespearean play?
Well, I'm not quite sure that I know the names. I just saw it on.
That's great. That is wonderful. Wonderful. Yes. You like to read biographies? Like what? Okay, well, you know what? You like Selena Gomez? Maybe you're just happen to be walking down the street and you're walking home and guess who is walking towards you? Okay, guys, all right. Okay. Next section. What if? You got some ideas for your stories. What if? I'm going to read this part. I need everybody to listen. Many writers use this concept when creating a story. It's taking everyday experiences and expanding upon them, exploring the possibilities. For instance, does anybody take a school bus to school? Okay, put your hands down. What if you woke up one morning, it's an average morning, you took the bus to school, you came to your class, and your teacher says to you, okay, I want you to write me a story about your way coming to school. You know, I want you to write it exciting and interesting, and you look at your teacher, what? It says I'm going on a school bus. But think about what might happen. What if you got on the wrong bus? What if the driver won't let you off the bus? Again, she wants you to write sports. You play football, you play baseball. How do you make that into a story? Ask what if. What if your team is losing 4-1 but scores 4 points in the last quarter? What if your star player gets sick and you or your main character are brought in to replace him or her? What if you have a big tournament coming up? Okay, I know a lot of you like to play on the computer. You just got a new computer game for your birthday. Somebody said they like to play video games. Okay? What if you became hooked on that computer game? What if you became the best player in town and nobody could beat you? None of your friends could beat you. What if you started talking with the computer? What if you became the character in the computer game and your parents don't know you anymore? Think about, you could make it as fantastic as you want, or you could make it a story about you always winning this game, this computer game. Okay? But right now, we're going to create a story together, but I want to talk about the beginning, the middle, the turning point, which is really important, and the end. So I need everybody on this page. Your story should have a beginning, a middle, a turning point, and an end. And very briefly, we're going to go over this. And anybody know the story of the 3 little pigs? Okay, all right. You can put your hands down. The beginning. Establish the setting and the main character. What is the point of your story? What does the main character want? Might give your character, again with fiction, give your character a problem. There's something he wants to do or he needs to get. There's a struggle. He has a struggle. Okay, give yourself a problem. And what are the steps he's taking or she's taking to get what he or she wants? Maybe he will, maybe he won't. But again, you could set it up as a problem. Middle. This is the longest part of the story. There could be different scenes and additional characters, all involving the main character and the plot. We're talking about one plot. Now, a lot of novels that you read, I know there's a lot of plots, subplots, and a lot of things going on, but we're just talking about a simple story with one plot. Turning point. All the action should lead up to a turning point. Your main character is changed. Something happens. It's changed in some way. And the end tie up loose ends. Okay. The beginning. What is the beginning of the 3 little pigs? What is the beginning? Establish the setting and the main character. What is the beginning? Yes. Okay. And what is the setting? Are they in New York City or where are they? Yeah, like a forest or the woods. Okay. And is there another character in that story? A main character? Yes. Okay, great. So we've got the characters and we've got the setting. What's next? So they each want to build a house. What does that first pig build his house out of? Yes. Yes. Hay. That's good. He builds it out of hay and he's happy and he's just hanging out in that house watching TV. And what happens next? There's a problem. Uh-oh, what happens? Yes. The wolf huffs and puffs and he blows his house down. Now we're in the middle, there's all this action. So what does that first little pig do? He goes over to the second pig's house, his brother's house, and what is that house made of? Sticks. So the 2 brothers are singing and dancing, they're listening to music, and what happens next? Yes. The wolf blows that house down and those 2 little pigs are homeless. Oh no. Those poor pigs. What's next? We're still in the middle part of the story. Yes. They walk over their other brother's house, which is made of bricks. And they're all in that house and they're all so happy. And what happens next? What is that terrible wolf all the way in the back? Yes. The big bad wolf tries to blow that house down, and there's some versions of this story, different versions, but he goes up on that chimney and he tries to huff and he puff and huff and puff that brick house, and what happens? It stays, right, but he's on top of that chimney. Does anybody know what happens? He's huffing and puffing so hard. He goes down the chimney and he falls into zoo, okay. And they're happy and they're laughing, and that's the story, the different parts of the story. So we're going to create a story together, a simple story. So I need everybody to use your imagination. I'm going to set up a scenario. Okay, it's a Saturday morning, and it's a beautiful day like this, and you're with your family, and you decide to go to the zoo. Okay, you can put your papers down now. You're going to the zoo, and you go and you see the monkeys and the giraffes and the lions, and then you go to the aquatic part of the zoo, and you see the dolphins and the seals and the sea lions, and you go to the aviary, you see all the birds flying around, and you see so many different animals, you have a great day, so much fun at the zoo, and then you go home, and you want to write a story based on your day at the zoo, but you want to make something up. You saw all these animals, and you want to create a story based on your day at the zoo. Okay, now remember, we want to have a beginning or a set of the story, we want to have middle part of the story, a turning point, and an end. So who can start the story off for me? Who can start the story off for me? Yes? It's a Saturday, you're with your family, and what is your name? Ada. Ada's with her family, and she's at the zoo, she sees the animals, and she goes by the lion pit, and she ends up falling in. Oh no, there's a lot of tension there. What happens next? What happens next to Ada and that lion? Yes?
The lion blows up and goes to sleep.
The what? And goes where? Kabooey. Oh my goodness, the lion blows up. How did Ada get the lion to blow up? What? TNT? Okay, so she has a special power. She makes this lion blow up. But what happens? Is the lion's no longer here?
Yes.
He's gone.
Yes.
So Ada has this special power and she can blow up these animals? Okay, so she blows up the lion. All right, so now where's Ada? Where does she go next? Are her parents still with her?
No.
Oh, they just happen to go to the other part of the park. Okay, so what happens next? Yes.
She goes to the snack place and the soda cans start trying to eat her.
Start what?
Trying to eat her.
Oh my God, so she's crazy. She goes to the snack place and the soda cans because she doesn't know what's going on and they're trying to eat her. Okay, so all right, our plot is Ada. We want to keep it on Ada and the special power she has. So what happens next? There's a lot of action here. She's scared. I'm scared just hearing about this. What happens next to Ada? She runs away from the cans. She ends up where? Falling where? So and where are the cans? Did she blow them up?
Yeah.
She blew up the cans. All right, Ada. Then she goes to see the gorillas. What's happened? And there's havoc in the park. Where are her parents? Where's everybody else? The zookeeper and what are they doing? I mean, she's wreaking havoc in the zoo. Think about it. Well, what's it? Where? She's with the gorilla. Yes. The monkey starts to sing. And what does she do with the singing monkey? Okay. Remember the three little pigs. Again, when you're writing, this is a simple story. You're getting a little, let's keep it in that zoo. I mean, you could get really wild, but let's just keep the plot, okay, with Ada blowing up the animals at the zoo, going to close, and Ada is still there. Okay? But everything is closed. But what's going to happen to Ada? Her parents now are looking for her. The zoo is a mess. What can happen? Yes. Okay. We are going off in a lot of different directions here. Okay. Her parents are driving, but they want Ada. What your parents think about that? We got to get help for Ada. I want Ada helped. Somebody give me a good solution to help Ada. Somebody give me a good solution. Yes.
The parents come back and answer, and she goes to the dark side of the forest.
And what?
She says, I want to go home.
She says, I want to go home. And her parents, and how do her parents do that? Where are all the animals now? We need to get them back in their cages. Who has a good idea? She has a force. Now she has a force. And how did that force change? Before, she's able, now she has the good forces with her. So she's able to take the animals and bring them to their cages. That's great. Okay. So, and how did she get this force? What? Dynamite. She has this magical, she got a good, so before everything has gone crazy, all of a sudden there's this dynamite, and she's now got all the animals back in their cages. Woo. Oh my goodness, this is so exciting. And what's the ending? Who can give me a good ending? Her parents and Ada are together. And they go to get ice cream. Anybody have a different ending? A different ending? She takes a gorilla home with her. Okay. Now, yeah, that's a great idea. Okay. We have another part to go over. But just remember, again, when you're writing, and it can be as fantastic as you want, but if you're writing a story that says maybe 2 pages, 3 pages, you want to keep online, you want to keep on focus. Give it one problem. Your main character has a problem or a want or needs something. And just keep that focus, the people and the characters that are in your story, what they are doing to either help her or not help her to get what she wants. And is her problem solved or isn't it solved? Again, keeping it simple. However you want to do your story is fine. Okay. I have a story called The Alien in Apartment 4B. It's published in Highlights. Okay, it's called The Alien in Apartment 4B. I want to read you the first couple of paragraphs, 2 versions of the first couple of paragraphs. One version is what was actually published. Another version was not. And I want you to tell me, see, if you know which one was really in the magazine. Okay, this is version 1. And again, it's just the beginning, the first couple of paragraphs. When I came home from school, my brother Manny came up to me. He told me he heard the noise again. I asked him what noise. He said the noise coming from apartment 4B. I told him no one was in apartment 4B. The Morgans are on vacation. He didn't believe me. Ever since we saw that movie last weekend, Manny thinks something else is upstairs. Okay, that's version 1. This is version 2. The minute I came home from school, my brother Manny ran toward me. I heard it again, he shrieked. You heard what? I asked. Footsteps. Doors opening and closing. There's someone upstairs in apartment 4B. Manny was at it again. There's no one in apartment 4B, I said. The Morgans are on vacation. Exactly, Manny cried. So who's walking around above us? A burglar? A spy? Maybe it's a space alien. I rolled my eyes. Ever since last weekend when we saw the movie Alien Creatures Attack, Manny thinks creatures from another planet have invaded us. Okay, I'm saying the same thing in version 1 and version 2, same basic. But who thinks, by a show of hands, who thinks version 1 was the version that was published? Okay. And who thinks version 2? Okay, well, for those of you who said version 2, that is the correct answer.
Do you think version 2 is the correct answer?
Okay. Now, why? Why was noise upstairs. Now, noise could be anything, okay? It could be a dog barking, okay? It could be an alarm going off, all right? It could be your mother yelling at you because you're not doing your homework. It could be anything at all. And the second one, I specifically said, we heard footsteps, doors opening and closing. In the first version, I said, ever since we saw that movie last weekend, Manny thinks something else is upstairs. And the second one, I named the movie. We saw that alien creatures attack. Somehow it doesn't make me warm and fuzzy. It doesn't make me seem like that's going to be a happy little movie. Okay, so it gives you an idea of why Manny is so scared. What else is different about the first one and the second one? What else is different? What? The vocabulary. We can say some vocabulary, the word choice. Does anybody know what a thesaurus is? Do you ever use a thesaurus with your writing? Well, I don't like that. I know you probably use a dictionary because you want to have your spelling. Oh, just very quickly. Revisions. Just to go back for a second. Just so you know, this story, and I know you probably too, you write a story, you think it's good, you hand it in, and then sometimes you get it back, and your teacher makes some changes. Okay? Well, guess what? When I write my stories, I have many revisions. 2, 3, 4 times. Sometimes when I write, I just write. I write down ideas, I write down thoughts, and then you know what a pencil with an eraser is? In my second version, I cross things out, I change things, I make my sentences better, I use my thesaurus. If I'm writing a story, and I have Manny is running here, and he ran outside, and he's running down the block, and I keep using the word run. Do you think, is there another way I can express the word run? What's another word for run or ran? Yes? Sprinting, good. Dashed? Oh, that's okay, yes. Ran, oh, I like that. Ran as fast as a cheetah. Very nice. Good job, yes. Trotted quickly. Zoomed. Skipped. Okay, that's why. When you can't think. Okay, sometimes our minds, don't ever think you're cheated by using a thesaurus or using a dictionary. Don't ever think. That's why they're made. That's why they're there. You want to build up your vocabulary. So it's important. In the first one, again, when I came home from school. The second one, the minute I came home from school. Okay, Manny said. It's okay to say said. Manny shrieked. Shrieked. Good word. What about when characters are talking to one another? What's that called? Dialogue. You want to have some dialogue in your story. In the first version, I said, this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened. But the brothers aren't talking to each other. So you want to have both narrative and dialogue. And you'll learn about the characters, the dialogue, by the way they speak. You'll learn about their personalities. Okay, show, don't tell. Does anybody ever hear that? Show, don't tell. Does anybody know what that means? A lot of kids, that might be for a little older children. But what does show, don't tell mean? Yeah, that's okay. But I want to tell you a little bit more about what show, don't tell. A lot of times you won't learn this until you're a little bit older, but it's really easy to understand. Okay, in the story, Manny is scared. And I'm telling you, and that's okay. I can tell you, when I write my story, I can say Manny is scared. But when you're scared, show me you're scared. What's going on in your body? How would you look? How would you feel? When you're scared, show me, yes. Your heart is racing. You're showing me. I know, if you're really calm, your heart's not going to be racing. So just by that, you are showing me, yes. Sweating, excellent. You have a heart attack, you feel like you're going to have a heart attack, yes. of paper. Really nice. I like that. Shaky. Falling straight on the floor because you're out of breath. Excellent. Okay, another example. You're at your soccer game, okay, and I'm a little late. I'm your mom. I'm running and running. I'm a little late, and I'm across the field. And your team just scored the winning goal. Now, you can't tell me I scored the winning goal because I'm too far away. What would you be doing? How would I know your team scored and not the other team? How would I know that? You'd act excited, but when you act excited, what would you be doing? Jumping. You're jumping. You're showing me now. Yes.
Show your action.
You're showing them, but so you just scored that goal. What would you be doing? Maybe with one of your teammates, or would you be crying? No. High five. You just high five your teammate. You didn't score that goal. You would be high fiving your teammate. One more. One more. Yes. What? You had a trophy in your hand. Great. Oh, that's wonderful. Okay. Do we have time for a couple questions, or should I? Maybe two. Okay. Does anybody have a question about what it's like to be an author? Maybe you want to tell me a story that you're writing now? Yes. Is it hard? Sometimes it is. I'll be honest with you. Sometimes it is hard. But most of the time, I really love it. I really love when I get an idea and I want to write. It's like anything. Do you play any sport? What do you play? Okay, play baseball. Okay. The first time you got up at bat, did you hit a home run? No. It took practice, right? Your skills became better the more you practice, the more you learn, and that's the same thing with writing. It's the same thing with writing. Or you play a musical instrument. Okay? Anything you do, it just takes time. One more, yes. I always like to write. Yeah. This is like, I used to write for a newspaper, and I used to write catalog copy for an advertising firm. So most of my jobs have been writing, but I love what I do now the best. I love writing children's books the best. So, well, thank you very